So I've started riding a motorbike again. I test rode some in November and December, and then started riding my own in January. It's now April. So what have I learnt? Well, I mean, I had a full license, and in the UK they teach you a lot. They make sure you can do everything before you pass and you're allowed out there. Um, so it was all fine, but it was a new bike for me, something different. Um, so what did I learn? Just get used to your own bike. What have you learnt on? What have you ridden before? When you start something new, you're going to have to get used to it. It will be different. It will feel different. It will do different things. Um, Everyone says ride your own ride, and it's right. If it doesn't feel safe to you, just because people are overtaking you, doesn't mean you have to filter at that particular moment. It might not be right for you. It might be that the bike that just went past is thinner, or that person has like 10 years of experience on you and they know what they're doing. They've done this 20 times. Don't feel pressure. Um, what else? Yeah, shop around. Blimey, I've been to shops where I thought, that's a good deal, and I know it's obvious, like you do it for everything else, but if you go directly to the manufacturer for, like, I don't know, an accessory, a tool, a piece of protective gear, something to clean the bike, you think, oh yeah, surely the manufacturer's selling it cheaper than the shop. Nope, not always. Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes it is the manufacturer's cheaper. Got to factor in delivery and everything. Sometimes Halfords is the place that sells it the cheapest. And you're like, okay. Sometimes it's the bike shop or the accessory shop, you know. I like to support the shops rather than buy online if I can. But if a manufacturer is selling it directly, well, I'm supporting them, so that's fine. Rather not go to any of the e-commerce places if I can avoid them. Sadly, unlike when I started riding 20 years ago, some of the e-commerce places are the only places selling some of these little bits and pieces that you can't get. They put them out. They put those shops out of business. There are still some. You can look around, speak to your biker mates. You'll probably find it. What else? I love how there's so much more technology now to keep the bike clean and to protect it, from scratches and stuff. There are all sorts of things, ways you can do this, and each their own. I don't go for films, I go for spray, but it's there, it's all there. Um, uh, there are like blankets not literal blankets, but things you can put underneath your luggage, stop the bike getting scratched. But it also helps with friction to keep it fixed to the bike. Um, just loving all that basic stuff, the basic tech. Now, obviously, you've got like helmet communicators and sat nav and all the rest of it. That's fine, but just just normal stuff to make life easier in general. Um, what else? I still like the fact that there's a good amount of camaraderie out there between riders, like the head nod and so on. But it's good. I guess the thing I'd say to people starting out is make sure you're comfortable on the bike you buy. get your feet on the ground. First one, if you're a beginner, or if you're coming back to it. Make sure it's the best deal for you. Do your research. I went out and found out how much bikes weigh, what their horsepower was, what the torque was, what extras they had, what the cost was, what the insurance cost was, all of this. I put it all together in a spreadsheet. And yeah, of course, I had an emotional attachment to certain bikes, but it helped me dwindle down from like, oh, these 200 amazing bikes to like 5 or 6. And equally going and sitting on bikes in the shops before I rode any of them, because there were 20 or so that I thought, oh, they're gorgeous. Sat on them and I thought, it's the most uncomfortable thing I've ever sat on. Or it was just too tall, or it was just too heavy, or it was just too weird. I hurt my back when I tried to reach the the handlebars because of the positioning. And it does get to you because you think, oh, but I want that bike. That's an amazing bike. Maybe it doesn't suit you though. At least initially. At least until you've got a year or two under your belt with a standard bike that does suit you. You can go out and probably able to ride anything. But yeah, give yourself a little time to get used to stuff. I can't believe how tiring it can be. I mean, it's rewarding, it's lovely, it's so much fun. But even if I'm wearing the minimal amount, I mean, wearing all my gear all the time, but if the minimal amount of like layers underneath that because it's warm, I've taken out all the winter lining and stuff, so now all that's left is the protective gear and the waterproofing, whatever. You're opening the vents and everything. You know, just sweating after a decent ride because you're having to move the bike around, you're having to move yourself around, you're having to stay like hyper alert compared to in a car. You know, you're feeling what the tire's doing under you, what the engine's doing, any little differences in the way the bike feels, the wind. What else? Yeah, earplugs. Use them for a number of reasons. Protect your hearing, obviously. You'll actually be able to feel and hear the bike better as well, generally, because you're cutting out the wind noise and the tones of the bike that are deafening you. Really, you'll be able to hear everything better. I will say, at times when we're at lower speeds, it's better without the earplugs because you're using your hearing to be more aware of cars around you. But actually, you get used to that. You can hear them. You're just tuning to a different level. That's all. Ride as much as you can and ride different journeys. You know, you might be commuting, but go out and have fun on it as well. Clean your bike. Make sure you checked everything before every ride. Tire pressures, everything's all oiled up and ready, and just be sensible. You can have fun and still be sensible. Don't go speeding off and stuff because you'll lose your license. And where's the fun in that? You're able to ride. And that's the least. You could actually do yourself damage and hurt other people. So just don't do it. That's it, really. Enjoy riding.